Welcome to the first video of 2025 with a scene from 1930s Norwich. But where was this taken? I'll tell you at the end of the video. So off we go then on a tour of the city of Norwich in 2025, comparing to how it looked in the 1930s. Let's begin on Bracondale and also take a look at City Road. This is Bracondale as we see it today. And in 1934 the road shape is recognisable, but the tram tracks running down the centre were being removed. Into City Road, and looking at its junction with Bracondale, looks like this in 2025, and again it is, I think, recognisable in 1934 with the tram tracks being removed. Next we'll take a look at locations to the east of the castle, moving upwards from south to north. So firstly, we're just off King Street in Stepping Lane, which looks like this in 2025 with Mountergate opposite. The street shape remains recognisable in the 1930s. The Royal Hotel closed its doors as a hotel in 1977 and is now a business centre, having been opened in 1897. The young man to the right of the hotel entrance was stationed there by the tramway company to set the points to trams heading towards either Magdalen Street or Prince of Wales Road. Into Bank Plain now. This is the 2025 view looking into Bank Street, compared to the equivalent view from 1936 with the National Building Society agents as Percy Howes. Round the corner into Queen Street, this is the Brew Dog at number 1 in 2025. In 1936 this building was White's, or alternatively Gundry White's, a name it retained until 1994. Off Queen Street is Old Bank of England Court, so named because it housed a branch of the Bank of England from 1829 until 1852. In 1936 it housed the Scottish Legal Life Assurance Society. Finally, for this section we go into Upper King Street and what is now Copa Cubana at number 3, which had looked like this in 1936 when it was occupied by Hanbury Williams surveyors and land agents. In the next section we look at some locations on either side of Magdalen Street. Firstly, this is St Saviour's Lane looking towards Magdalen Street, with numbers 19 to 21 occupying the location on the right hand side in the 1930s. Looking back from the opposite direction, looked like this in 1939, the building facing us having been the Hope Brewery pub until 1923, with a bowling green behind on the present day car park. On the other side of Magdalen Street, this is Golden Dog Lane, the more modern building on the left hand side of the photo, replacing numbers 15A to 17 which are seen here in 1938. This is Muspole Street, which runs from Colgate to Duke Street. Kilty, on the left, was part of Norwich, producing shoes for children. Next we look at some scenes either side of St Benedict Street. Firstly, Norwich Arts Centre is on the right of this photo, with a car park on the left. This is that same post seen in 1936, then with St Swithin's Church to the right and the old rectory to the left. This is looking up Tembell Lane towards Pottergate, both in 2025 and in 1936. And if we turn around and look back towards St Benedict Street, this is the current view compared to a rare colour photo from 1939. Time for another map, this time of the city centre. We'll begin at the marketplace and work our way south, finishing at Surrey Street. The introduction of permanent stalls on Norwich Market in 2006 makes it impossible to replicate 1930s photos of the Sir Garnet Wolseley pub, so I can only try. Sir Garnet Wolseley was Commander-in-Chief of the British Army from 1895 to 1901. This area has changed dramatically over the decades, but if you look at where those red barriers are, that was the site of number 3 Bethel Street in 1936, the Mrs. Mann Furriers. Is that how you pronounce it? Well, I can pronounce Fat Face in the Haymarket. This building was known as Curate House and was the home of Back's wine and spirit merchants. Note the sign between the sets of windows, long gone in the present day. Malthouse Road with Marks and Spencer's on the left was called St Stephen's Church Lane in the 1930s, when the equivalent view looked like this. This is Lion and Castle Yard, off Timber Hill, named after the pub which had been on the left-hand side. One of the city's few thatched buildings is on the right, and seen here in 1935. H. Tyson Son was an ironmonger who had a shop on Davy Place. Looking across St Stephen's towards Surrey Street, we have to remember St Stephen's was widened in the 1960s, so the left-hand carriageway of St Stephen's as we look was number 3 Surrey Street, Stewards, Costumes and Gowns, seen here in 1936. Back to that first picture that we saw, could you identify where it was taken from? It was from Mousehold Avenue with the 2025 equivalent view looking something like this.